Thank you for everyone who's joining us, and thank you for your patience. We are bringing in all of our assembly members at this time and staff members who need to be in panelist mode. So if you give us just a few moments, we'd appreciate it.
Madam Clerks, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We're still trying to bring some folks over into panelist mode here.
I believe the only assembly member we are missing is Ms. Hughes Scandy. So I will watch for her and bring her over, but I can hit record if you are ready.
I don't have the option to turn my camera on. I don't know if anyone can see me.
Yeah, well, let me go ahead and change that. I wasn't sure if you were on your phone, so this should bring you back into panelist mode.
I'm having the same issue, which may be on my end. So let me check, but I'm here so I can hear, and I'll work on video if it's on my end.
Ms. Wall, I think it is on your end. Oh, sure.
So I'm assuming you're ready, Madam Clerks?
We're trying to get Madam Manager over into panelist mode with you, Madam Mayor, and I think she's been invited to join us. Here she comes.
Okay,
And then,
sorry,
yes.
usually when I hear recording in progress, that means you're ready.
I think we are ready at this moment, and we are waiting for Ms. Hughes Scandies, but we can begin without her if you choose to. We do have a quorum present.
All right. Thank you for that. So we will call this special assembly meeting to order for August 6, 2024. Madam Clerk, will you note the roll?
So noted. Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have all assembly members present with the exception of Ms. Hughes Scandies, who has indicated she will be joining us. So we'll be sure and bring her in as soon as she joins us.
All right, thank you. And thank you to all the assembly members. I know this is last minute for sure, but as you know, funding for our friends in need is extremely important. And this is the one thing that we can do for sure is declare a disaster. The governor's working on his and may have even passed his disaster declaration because he knew we were doing this at noon. So in short, I'm either going to go to Mr. Barr or Ms. Kester, and they can catch us up whomever wherever we are. But I just so who would like to do that? Mr. Barr or Ms. Kester, who would like to give us what's happening right now?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take that. Just to do a quick summary, recap of the event. Last night, the river crested at 15.99 at 3:15 in the morning. This was over a foot higher than last year's height, and we saw significant inundation in neighborhoods that were not anticipating inundation. So our shelter, which was relatively quiet for most of the night at Floyd Dryden, received a lot of activity in the middle of the night. This means we had residents over on Emily Way, Julep areas that residents were just kind of anticipating that they wouldn't be impacted, and then had to leave in a big hurry, come to the shelter. Many of them were wet. Our highest census at the shelter was 43 residents. Most of the people are out and about today. we are still doing, of course, an assessment of the damage. I mean, roads are just being passable. I think Mayor Weldon called in right before this meeting and said Riverside Drive is finally passable. So we haven't been able to get out there and do an assessment, but some of the things that we do know is that likely over 100 homes were impacted by the flooding. We have not heard reports of any homes falling into the river like we did last year. That's thanks to a lot of armoring. There has been some erosion like near on some CBJ property, but only impacting some more of a recreational property. So nothing impacting structures. But of course, we have had flooding and power outages associated with that flooding. ALMP proactively turned off power, and they're going to be going through neighborhoods now, and many places power has been turned back on, and where they are turning power back on, CCFR will be coordinating with them to make sure that there's no hazards as they turn power back on in different neighborhoods. Other damage assessments that we have, pedestrian bridges are still closed. Let me just reviewing my notes because I was just briefed on this. I just got out of our emergency operations call. We really are waiting to get a full assessment of the disaster. Let's see, at 11:42 this morning, the river was at 9.72 and falling. We anticipate it to be out of flood stage by 4 o'clock this afternoon. So that will be when people are a little bit more able to return to their homes. The next most kind of emergent operational needs for CBJ response are going to be sending out people to inspect homes. We are coordinating building. The building official is working on that. We will coordinate with Red Cross as necessary. Eventually, the state will come in and do some official disaster assessments, but this is like the initial, making sure there's no life safety concerns. As Mayor Weldon mentioned, Governor Dunleavy has declared a verbal disaster. This has opened up state resources. So the State Emergency Operations Center is on board. They're sending 2 staff to town today. One is a volunteer coordinator, and the other will help us with identifying resources that we need. I presume that much like last year, we'll eventually have a team in town to help with individual assistance and public assistance, but that declaration does open up individual and public assistance to both CBJ and to our residents. Other items that are near and dear to our residents' minds as far as what to do next will be things like debris management. Again, with significant flooding, that's something that we're working on. We are preparing another round of communication with the public. So I think Deputy Manager Barr calls it the monster press release that will have this information only much more well organized and let people know, how to contact us. We are encouraging people to use the flood response email, both because this is allows us to triage. That's floodresponse@juneau.gov. Also, we are having some challenges with ACS and our phone lines, which is really quite inopportune. I'm presuming there's going to be a lot of questions. I know we've had interest, thanks to Mayor Weldon doing some outreach. We have interest from our Governor Dunleavy and the delegation. So we will be making sure that we, take advantage of those individuals and their interest and willingness to assist. I'm left a lot out, so please feel free to ask questions.
Okay, Mr. Barr, before we go to questions, do you have anything to add?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's a lot of operational things ongoing right now. I think Manager Kester captured a high-level summary really, really well. Lot of work going on right now around drone mapping, helping us understand the extent of the disaster. We're pretty, I guess I would say, preliminarily happy with our sewer valves, where we think they operated as intended. We're really quite pleased that all of those ducks lined up in a row to get them installed correctly. We're working on verifying that information, and many other pieces in the works right now. We are, as Manager Kester said, we are one of the things we're focused on is caring for long-term sheltering needs. The shelter is largely empty right now, but we are aware that folks might need to come back as they inspect and determine do an individual assessments of their damage. So we're keeping an ear to the ground on that too. Happy to entertain questions.
All right, before you go to that, just so I've also been busy this morning. Not only was I boots on the ground for Mr. Barr, who's stuck home, been around taking pictures, so I flooded his phone. But like Ms. Kester said, I've been on the phone with the governor's office a couple times. Senator Sullivan has reached out to FEMA, so they're aware of what's going on. Murkowski's office, I've talked to them a couple times, and Poltola's office. She's going to try and be here Saturday. So the governor is coming tomorrow. Senator Murkowski's in Yakutat, and she is trying to figure out her schedules to see if she can come back. And Senator Sullivan is just on his way to Alaska. So I imagine he will swing by Juneau on his way through. So be aware of that. CCFR gets a shout out because they did rescue several people, including one person that was wheelchair bound, and with the power going out, she ran out of oxygen. And I just got a text from ALMP, all the power is back up. So yay to those guys. We truly appreciate the linemen and the boots on their boots on the ground, because they're doing all the hard work there. Public Works has been all over the place. Docks and Harbors is running around seeing if anybody needs pumps for their crawl spaces. So tons of help from the city. And we've also had, starting at the crack of dawn this morning, if anybody knows Max Brooks, he gets up very early. Tons of businesses reaching out, including the Baranoff Hotel, who said if they need rooms, let us know. So Juneau community is coming together very well, and lots of neighbors helping neighbors. And I interrupted Ms. Hale delivering coffee. So thanks to everybody for that. So Mr. Bryson, you have a question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Trash. I've already had one citizen reach out. Is there going to be some trash procedure? I would imagine people are going to start the cleanup process in the next 24, 48 hours. Will we be doing something similar to accommodate the citizens as they start to clean out their homes from the flood?
Ms. Kester.
Yeah, I think the answer is we're certainly going to try. The challenge is this is a much we're gonna lean in as much as we can, and we would be eligible for that assistance. The challenge is that this is a much larger event, right? More homes have been impacted in that way. I don't want to say it's a larger event, but it's a different event, right? We have a lot more flooding than we had last year. So last year we were able to go door to door with CBJ staff and use CBJ staff to load up dumpsters and coordinate with waste management. I suspect all of that will be more difficult, but we do have a team working on trash and how to coordinate that as we speak. So stay tuned for messaging on that. I suppose the most important thing to remember is we can't take trash from people's homes. We just take trash if it happens to be in the right of way.
Perfect. Type roping on that one, Ms. Kester. So, and I do know that people have been, that was one of the biggest questions they were asking me when I was driving around this morning, and people are doing their best to get their house in order. And miraculously, the river miraculously put the trash right on the right of way. So, but I just wanted to do a quick shout out while I was thinking about it. The roads are passable, but there's still a lot of mud and debris. We even have a big log, I think, right around Lakeview Court. So if you don't live there, or if you're not helping someone, this is not the time to go drive around and check things out, because these people are trying to deal with getting their homes back up in order. So Ms. Hale.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thanks to everybody. It's been a very long night, and I really appreciate everybody for having such a long night, for being there. My question is for people impacted, like family members of mine. What will the email that Mr. Deputy Manager is sending out, and thank you so much for sending out that press release, Mr. Deputy Manager, will that provide links to guidance for what to do when you've been flooded? You know, how do you know, if you have carpet, do you rip the carpet up? Do you try to dry it? How do you, what do you do? How do you proceed when your home has been flooded?
Mr. Bart?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Deputy Mayor Hale. Yes, I've been communicating with CDD staff, and we're leaning on resources that have already been produced at the Federal Emergency Management Agency that will include in that press release.
Apologize that my phone's been ringing off the hook with all kinds of different numbers. I didn't see who was first, Mr. Smith or Mr. Kelly, who was first?
Either way, but I'll go ahead. Thank you, Madam Mayor. A big appreciation to the team here. I mean, just obviously everyone in the community who's pitching in to make sure people are safe. I mean, great news to hear. No one injured, no one hurt. People received the medical care they needed. So a long way to go. In kind of following up on Madam Hale's question, like I'm seeing things on social media saying if someone needs fans or pumps to work on their property, I mean, is that flood response at juno.gov? Can all of that type of things go there and then get sorted out from there? Or is there a better spot if people are wanting to, you know, have something to help or something like that?
Ms. Kester?
Yeah, I think that, you know, at this point, we are working on getting a volunteer, some type of volunteer coordinator stood up. We've talked with Juneau Community Foundation, who's volunteered to help. We've talked about different ideas, and the state EOC is sending a volunteer coordinator down. So I would say that at this time, contacting the flood response at juno.gov email is a great way to get in the queue and let us know that those resources are available. And then we're hoping very soon to be able to communicate a more direct coordinator that can coordinate those resources.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Actually, I think my question was going to be very similar to Mr. Smith, so I'm fine. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. So any further questions before we move to our agenda topic? Ms. Wall?
Thank you, Mayor Weldon, and thanks everyone for all the work. Is there anything else us as assembly members can be doing right now to help staff or help community besides passing this declaration in a few minutes?
I think the best thing that we will need help on is communication. In events like this, communication is the real struggle. And, you know, we're still trying to get our arms around what we want to communicate. So I guess I will take this opportunity to ask the assembly if email is the best way. I'd been sending text to you as the event unrolled over the night or yesterday, but with more comprehensive information, I'm going to be sending emails. And so if you can, you know, you people are going to call you because they know you're on the assembly and they want to know what to do with this, what to do with that. So if you can be those ambassadors in the community to help us with communication, I will funnel that through email, and that would be really appreciated.
Ms. Hale?
Thank you. This is just a follow-up on the communication question. If there is a way to get everything that you put out to us sort of instantly or semi-instantly on the webpage, I'd love to be able to point people to juno.org so they could go straight to the webpage, but it's been out of date, like for the whole thing. So, or out of time, I guess, because everything has changed so fast. So if that's possible, that would be great. If they could just go to our homepage and hit that link about the event.
Yeah, I know we've prepped the flood response email or the flood response website even before the event in anticipation of it, but you are correct that things are just evolving so very quickly. What my communication with you will just be earlier than what we're able to post in a more official capacity, because I can also be more informal with you guys. So we will try to make sure that the really important things like links, contacts, FAQs are put up there really timely.
Thank you very much. And I know it's been crazy, so.
Yes. Again, a big shout out to our staff, especially Denise Koch and Robert Barr, who probably neither one got any sleep tonight. So appreciate you guys taking that role on. So a few of us got some sleep last night. With that, Madam Clerk, item number 1.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And if it's okay, I'm also going to share my screen so people can see the agenda and packet online. This is on our website,
Please do so.
juno.org. And let me share the screen if I can figure out. It's been a while since I've had to do this at my desk. So let me make sure I can actually see the full functions. There we go. Okay, are you seeing the agenda here?
Madam Clerk, you're pretty faint.
Oh, my apologies. Let me. put
Much
that
better,
in.
much better.
Much better. Okay, sorry, my microphone was down too far. So this is resolution 3071, a resolution of the city and borough of Juneau declaring a local emergency in response to the August 2024 glacier outburst flood and a request for state and federal assistance.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Manager.
CBJ Charter 3.12C authorizes the Assembly to call a special meeting to declare a disaster emergency. This resolution does that. The flooding from the glacier outburst flood that started yesterday is unprecedented and a foot higher than last year, 15.99 at 3:55 a.m. this morning. It inundated hundreds of homes and displaced countless people. We had at least 43 people seek refuge in Floyd Dryden and countless others evacuated out of the area. Hundreds of vehicles were flooded. We are just starting to assess the damage, but it is more expansive than last year's flood. We anticipate the need for temporary and long-term sheltering assistance, financial support to individuals and businesses, environmental cleanup to support fuel oil spills, and resources such as people, equipment, supplies, and trash disposal for flooded structures. As we continue with damage assessments, we will develop a more comprehensive understanding of the private and public damage caused by this natural disaster. Resolution 3071 would declare a local disaster emergency and request state and federal assistance.
You recommend we adopt this resolution.
I recommend the Assembly adopt this resolution. It takes effect immediately.
Thank you, City Manager. I would say we're not going to take public testimony, but we're going to take public testimony here in a moment. Because does anybody, I guess, never mind. Does anybody have any public participation on this agenda topic? And then we'll do more public participation after this. It's been a while since I've done Zoom too. Seeing none, Ms. Hale.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move resolution 3071, a resolution of CBJ declaring a local emergency in response to the August 2024 glacier outburst flood and a request for state and federal assistance, and ask for unanimous consent.
Any objection? Seeing none, that resolution passed. That brings us to public participation. I'm going to change things up a little bit. If there's any member of the public that has a question that we did not ask or answer during this would be a good time to ask it. And we will actually answer the questions. Remember, we are not looking into the future about what we're going to do to make this not happen again. That's going to be another day. Today, it's just how can we help people today? So are there any questions from the audience today? Seeing none, does any of the Assembly members have any questions that they don't think we covered? Seeing none, thank you all for showing up today. And Mr. Barr and Ms. Kester, appreciate all your time and thank you for keeping us informed, and we are adjourned.